Okay, so we're going to do a very interesting live. And the reason is because, first of all, I'm going to talk to you about a client I had the fortune of meeting yesterday. Beautiful. My God, what a beautiful soul and a beautiful, physically beautiful woman. And very interesting energy. And I'm going to give you some things that happened in this Akashik reading that I did yesterday. Then we're going to do a tarot reading to see if the 1% is involved in making sure that twins do not come into union. And when I say the 1%, I also mean I include the reptilians, draconians that own the 1%. You gotta always look at who owns who. Sorry, I just had breakfast and my throat chakra. Okay, hang on, okay? I just want to wait till we get 9 people on. And so far I don't see anything. Hi, Tink. So this is going to be about the 1% and how they control the twin flame and twin rage journey. And I'm not going to tell you the whole of this Akashic reading, but I learned a lot from these Akashic readings, a lot. And they're important. Okay? So I'm waiting for people to come on, like 5 people. Oh, thank you, Jennifer. Thank you for sharing it. Sorry about my throat chakra. It's such a pain in the ass sometimes. Let me wait. 1 more, 7. Okay. If we could get to 9, that'd be awesome. Then I don't have to repeat myself. So we're going to talk about the Akashic reading, some of the parts that I think are interesting, so you guys understand what happens and how we fell. Because sometimes we fell because we did fuck up. Sometimes we fell because we were tricked. Sometimes we fell because we didn't know. We didn't know. Souls that don't incarnate on this planet, or souls or high level frequency souls, know that when you incarnate into 3D, you're probably not going to come back for a while. Because you will lose your consciousness. Consciousness. What does that mean? Memory. You'll have amnesia. If somebody gets, traumatic brain injury, what happens? Sometimes they lose their power of speech. They don't remember their own name. Similarly, that's what happens when we go into lower frequencies. Just, you know what I'm saying? When we drop into frequencies. So I'm going to start. 11 people. Perfect. So I did an Akashic reading for this wonderful woman who's expecting. And one of the things that came up was I saw, I kid you not, the soul that's coming through. Because I don't talk about pregnancy. I'm not a medical intuitive. I would never do that. I don't talk about, am I going to have a good birth? My question to the universe is, which souls, who's jockeying for the position to be in this woman's womb? Who wants to incarnate through this person? That's how I do it, okay? And so what I saw was a soul. There was no one else trying to compete for that. And I think probably because it's not going to be a frequency match. This reading was of twin rays. This is the first twin ray I've had in about 18 months. In readings, I mean, okay? First twin ray in a while. And I didn't know there was twin rays until I did the reading. So let me go back to the Akashic. So in the Akashic, I see this soul telling me of past life in Egypt before the Greeks knew we existed was the line. I kid you not. That was amazing. Before the Greeks knew we existed, I was here. The pyramids and the Sphinx was not yet built, though there were pyramids that were here, was what I showed. And the souls that came to teach me, right, were Pleiadians. So in this twin ray couple, and this is completely a shock to me, and I'll tell you what I mean in a minute, but these Pleiadians came and they had, like a pale skin. Now, there's a lot of hybrids of Pleiadians. There's a lot of what you would call interracial connection and different skin color. Don't buy into they're all Nordic. That's actually bullshit. But anyway, in this case, they came in and they had this silvery sheen in their skin. It was like this glow. You know how you guys glow up with your skincare or whatever? Well, these people had a pale skin that had a silvery sheen, which I saw before. So it must be a particular a race of Pleiadians with a silvery sheen to their hair, and it's not blonde and it's not white, it's a silvery glow, which was interesting. And here they came, both of them, as masculines. It was clear that there was no feminine masculine thing. They came and they were teaching this Egyptian, I would say of royalty, because he was I saw him jumping off a chariot. And this idea that chariots came in at a certain point in time, a lot of things we were taught in high school in the 1960s, 70s, 40s, whatever, right? It's all bullshit. And thank God we've got wonderful people like Graham Hancock and Freddie Silver and excavating truth for us. Thank God for these guys and many, many other people. But anyway, so they came to teach before the Greeks knew we were alive. And one of these, which was my client, decided it was a good idea, right, to incarnate as this man. Yeah, he was an Egyptian of a royal status, as their daughter. And unfortunately, boom, that was it. It created the debacle of going into the spinning cycle. Think of it as being in a vortex in the ocean, right, in the vortex of water. And this twin on the other side of Pleiadian was like, they're going to come back. They're going to come back. Sure that this incarnated Pleiadian that had gone into 3D incarnation, well, I'm not going to say 3D, I'm going to say 5D incarnations, because it was not 3D, it was more like 5D incarnations. So let me just say that. But fell into 5D in the physical body of a humanoid, the way we look today, and unfortunately was lost, like actually developed amnesia. And the Pleiadian on the other side, that was the twin ray of this person, was like, I know they're coming out. And so the image they showed me as a parable to what happened was, after, I don't know, maybe 300, 400, 500 years of human terms, as the person was recycling into human incarnations, they showed me as if, I'm sure you've seen that. Have you ever seen somebody like playing in the rocks and the ocean is just really ferocious and hard, and this person thinks they know what the hell they're doing and they get swept away by the ocean, right? Similarly, that's what happened to the first incarnation. This person decided, I'm just going to go and incarnate as their daughter, and maybe I can mentor more on a day-to-day basis when I'm like there as their daughter, as their bloodline. It'll help with them ascending and remembering and understanding our teachings. And instead, so this Pleiadian was like, I got to go in. I got to go in. I got to go get this person. And similarly, this would happen when people are caught in massive rocky ocean vortexes, and a person will come and try to save them. And you know that's game over. They're going to get swept. Both of them are now going to be swept away, and that's exactly what happened. And they were swept away in the ocean of human density. And that was that. After that, there were other incarnations, of course, that I saw in human terms, but one of them being pretty brutal in the Balkans, and I didn't even know that the Balkans were the precursor to World War I, but some heavy shit happened. I don't want to bring it up because I don't want to bring any energy for some reasons, and trust me when I say this, but that was an important mind fuck that created some scar, a loop, which created a fear loop. And this soul coming into her is here to right the wrongs. What does that mean? It means they're here to bring them back into 5-6D consciousness, because this soul realizes that you who are now going to be my parents, you were you were high level, powerful Pleiadians who sacrificed yourself. One of you sacrificed yourself to come help me come into consciousness, and you got lost in the whirlpool of this debacle. One of you sacrificed yourself to come help me come into consciousness, and you got lost in the whirlpool of this debacle called the reincarnation hamster wheel. And so I'm coming back in to right the wrongs, to help you with your own ascension so that we can all be back on the plateau. So what was interesting about this particular person is that she recognizes in herself that all of her soul tribe members, her family, she's blessed that all of them are soul tribe members from the soul tribe team. And she said, I think I have the number 500 came to her. I go, well, that's probably how many people you have who are, and when I say the word people, just understand, I mean souls, okay? You've got in your tribe of soul mates, aka soul tribe members, you have 500. Some of us have 1,000, some of us have 740, it doesn't matter, right? Some of us, it's the amount of us who were born in one breath when we were created by the all, the creator. And so that was amazing. What else did I want to say that's important? Yeah, what happens with with women who are pregnant, what I will say is that the fear of everything going right and all of that is really counter to what you want to create. You want to create an avatar for the soul to come in that's going to be as powerful as possible. And you've got to understand that many of these fears are righteous because of what happened in past lives where, shit happened, wars happened, violence happened, things like that happened. When you had, look at what's going on in the Middle East. Look at what's going on in Congo. Let's look what's going on throughout history in the last 200 years where a mother was holding her child and it was alive and then suddenly it wasn't. Okay. So that kind of some scar is going to create this fear. One, I don't want to go through that pain ever again. That's one fear. Two, what if something goes wrong? What if I can't do this? What if I fail this child again? Those are reverberations from those traumatic past lives. And so you have to understand that if you live in a safe place, right? And right now, many of us are lucky that we live in what we call a safe place, a safe haven. Like you can pretty much walk out your door and know that you're not going to have to duck a bullet, okay, for example, or anything else in that level, or you're not going to be grabbed and taken away against your will for the most part. Am I correct? So these kinds of fears is not going to be your ally, okay? You have to listen to your instincts. Don't be fearlessly foolish. There's a difference between fearless and listening to your intuition and fearlessly foolish, which means you're going against your intuition and stepping into dog do. Okay, so you don't want to do that. So I want to make sure that I'm very clear to explain what I mean by what I'm saying, because I don't want anyone to confuse what I'm saying, okay? But for the most part, we are safe. And so for the soul to come in and to take possession of this avatar that you hold in your womb, you're going to have to go into a deeper meditation. I did a video, which I reposted, which you might want to look at, where I talk about working on your chakras and working on your baby's chakras from the time you realize that you're pregnant. And this is going to be very important because one of the things I notice when I do my hypnotherapy sessions always is 80% of the time when I get them to regress back into their mother's womb, the one thing that keeps vibrating massive power is the mother's fear. This is usually for the firstborn or the secondborn. I've noticed that. And that's problematic. Why? Because if that is a pulsing energy constantly, can you imagine? It's like a frequency surrounding a baby feeling your fear. Instead, now in some incarnations I've had where I felt, the client felt laughter, like in their mother's womb, there was a lot of laughter, there was a lot of music, there was a lot of joy, anticipation, and there was a lot of excitement. So the baby, aka the soul that took on the avatar of this body that is now lodged in a womb, is feeling safer to create and to grow cells that are going to be very healthy, very powerful, and so forth. Don't think I'm full of shit, because it's a real thing. What's the next thing I want to share with you? Because the next thing we're going to do is a very weird tarot reading that I was told that I need to do about how the 1% doesn't want twins to be in union. Let me see. What else did I want to... Oh, yes. One of the things I was told by the actual soul was that their mother needs to do a lot of pranayama, breathing exercises, which makes absolute sense, because the more oxygen you blow into your lungs, the more oxygen goes into your baby. It makes absolute sense. And the more oxygen, the more power, strength, and healthy development of every cell, brain cell, heart, and so forth, right? Makes sense, right? All right. What else do I want to tell you? Hang on, I'm just going to look at this. I always give my clients homework. And what other? This soul showed me other past lives. Actually, I'm going to go back to my own son. When I was pregnant with my son, this is important because you need to understand where you come from. Not where you just come from the stars or where you come from in your past lives, but where you come from in the immediate, meaning in this incarnation. So I'll give you an example. So my son came to me in a dream when I was about 7 months pregnant, and he showed me his life as Tariq, Tariq, and he was a Persian. Months pregnant, and he showed me his life as Tariq, Tariq, and he was a Persian, and he was sitting across from the desk of an American, big, brash, bulky American, and he was like, he knew 7 languages, and he was sitting there going, like, I wish the guy just spoke French. And at the time, Tariq was showing me that he could speak 7 languages: Farsi, Arabic, French, Italian, the list goes on, and English. And I said to him in the dream, look, we've already chosen your name. Do you want me to change your name to Tariq? And he said, no. I just want you to know that was my name. And he, in the dream, look, we've already chosen your name. Do you want me to change your name to Tariq? And he said, no. I just want you to know that was my name. And he was beautifully dressed, everything handmade for him, which it would have been probably the 1920s and 1910s, so it made sense that everything was handmade, and it looked beautiful. And he was a shorter man. He was like probably 5'8", 5'7", very beautiful, immaculate goatee, the whole bit. I mean, I saw my son in that incarnation, and today my son speaks 3 languages: French, English, and Russian. And that's just the beginning. So it's weird how. Not weird, like beautifully magical how these souls will come to you and you can't gaslight. And I had a couple more dreams, which I won't bore you with, of him visiting me and showing me other incarnations that he had before. This is a real thing. It actually does happen. And again, it's not woohoo. And the problem with many people is that they're so hell-bent on, gaslighting themselves. I don't know what that's about. In terms of... another interesting incarnation that she had that was shown to me from another planet. A lot of this species of humanoid species and reptilian species. By the way, I did see my first reptilian 3 days ago. Believe it or not, it was wild. Where this guy was actually a reptilian. I mentioned it in one of my lives. My son came to me as a goldfish before my test. Hey sis, love to see you live again. Oh good. This guy was actually a reptilian. I mentioned it in one of my lives. My son came to me as a goldfish before my test. Hey sis, love to see you live again. Oh, good, brother. Thank you. Llamas, classes, no more. Okay, so let me get back to that because this is an interesting one. So she was playing the harp. So this is the mother I'm talking about. She was playing the harp, pure white, in a white marble and crystal temple, almost albino in paleness. But in other words, you know the paleness of albinos, how pale and creamy their skin is. It's almost like this moon glow that comes from their skin. But she was not albino. But is this paleness of that. Widow's peak. She had a very marked widow's peak. And her hair was a definite white with a tinge of yellow, a very small tinge of yellow. She had large Japanese eyes. Do you know what I'm saying? With the nose bridge. Do you know how the Japanese faces have these beautiful nose bridges? Large Japanese eyes. Do you know what I'm saying? With the nose bridge. Do you know how the Japanese faces have these beautiful nose bridges and features that are very refined with the nose bridge, very defined, lips very defined, with these large Japanese eyes, but she was not a humanoid from this planet. It's her own species of people, right? But they had this, and she did have, I would say, I did see dark eyes in that incredible contrast of color. And let's see, what else? The amnesia of us dropping into these, when we drop into these incarnations, right? When we first fell from 9D, 7D, many of us fell. into the final 3D hit, right? Some of us 2D, believe it or not, in being massively just barbaric and reptilian. That's what makes our awakening so miraculous and extraordinary and respected and admired by other souls and species who are watching us. Don't think they think we're idiots and we're grunting animals, okay? There's this weird idea that many of them, well, okay, reptilians probably do, to be honest, but many of them on the other levels, like Andromedans, Arcturians, Pleiadians, they don't see us as shit, okay? On the other levels, like Andromedans, Arcturians, Pleiadians, they don't see us as shit, okay? First of all, we're also part of their ancestry, to be honest with you. And no offense, I only invite people I know where they're going to go to. Just don't take offense if I decline. I'm not declining you personally. I don't know you. So once we get to know each other, then I'll be happy to invite you. Okay, let me get back on my track. So, yes, so going into the evolution of the ascension that we're going through, okay, is a fucking miracle. They can't even, like, because they know. Because, see, in the beginning, when they used to try to take on these incarnations, the beginning, maybe, I don't know, 500,000 years ago, when they were creating us, when they were working on creating, humanoid and species of us, when we look at the Anunnaki, playing with petri dishes and shit like that. I'm making it up, but you get what I'm saying. When they were actually figuring out how do we make a slave race and all that shit that they were doing. When there was a faction between the Anunnakis, there were those that believed that this was absolutely 100% let's do it, and there were others that were kind of siding away, going, "What the fuck are they doing?" I mean, if you put a carbon matter together that with somewhat of a consciousness, a soul will come in. It's just how it is. This is what's so weird about cloning and robotic shit, and that's another show, and I'll probably do one some other time. But let's go back to we are considered the toilet planet. Not really. I don't want that to just go unexplained. We are not the toilet planet. I don't know where you heard that at all. Like, I don't know who's spewing that shit, but we're not a jail planet. Like, you believe in it. If you believe it's a toilet planet, then it'll be a toilet planet. We are looked at with a lot of respect. If we were not, many of us would not have the honor to sit and to stand before the Galactic Council. That's number one. Number one. Many of them have not ever volunteered, would never attempt to volunteer. I just share with you a story of why. There was an Andromeda in one of my Akashik readings where she also decided, let me just take an incarnation as a human just to empathize what it is to be a human, because I can't really relate. I got to walk in their shoes. So let me walk in their shoes and take on an incarnation. And that was lights out, fucking lights out for centuries. And so because they know that now, because they didn't know that before, because many of them won't even attempt it. Because like, I could lose my consciousness. What the fuck? It's not worth it. No, I'm not going and volunteer. And that's why when many of us volunteered, they were like, fuck it, hands on. Like, bravo, man, but I'm not doing it. But good luck. Let me know how it goes. And many of us have been very fortunate, even with toxic parents, in some cases, to bring us to an awakening that was somewhat protected by other beings. Powerful light beings that protected us as we grew up, grew up physically and also awakened little by little by little. Some of us actually never fucking fell asleep, to be honest. We remembered how we chose our parents, why we chose our parents, and so on, okay? But what was important and blowing their minds is that to the level of numbers that are coming in, remembering, or aka awakening, to do this work in a 3D platform. That is blowing their minds. If you think I'm full of shit, then this is not your life. And I'm not going to convince you the sun sets in the West. It's not my job. If this doesn't resonate with you, then I'm not your truth, and I get it. But this is me doing this work for years, being an awakened child at the age of 2, remembering, picking my parents. I remember shit that kids don't remember, okay, at all, and shouldn't remember. And there are people like Matthias de Stefano that remembers beyond the beyond the beyond. And that is blowing their mind, because you have to remember, we are going through the rocks and boulders of 3D. It is not a joke. It is fucking serious shit to go through. And it is a traumatic brain injury on a spiritual level, meaning you can't remember shit. You're in a cement box called the 3D brain. And then we realize that the brain is plastic, that it actually moves and flows with our own consciousness, influence, and recalibrating the way we think. Some of us need to do plant medicine to blow the cobwebs out. Some of us don't. And all of you are different. But what is admired by many of you who have gone through this awakening is that you have done it in the most impossible situation. It's like me tying your feet and tying your hands behind your back, like what they do with Navy SEALs training, and throwing in the ocean. And somehow you fucking bob up and you survive. You've got 10 minutes to keep floating. And if you do, we'll come back and we'll, untie you from this. It's that, and many don't survive. In fact, many go under what? They go under into massive depressions, into addictions, whether it's pharma or illegal, and all kinds of crazy shit that happens. And it's lights out, and they drop their bodies and come back behind the veils to realize, holy shit, why didn't I remember this? Why didn't I remember my mission? What happened to me? Like, I knew what I was supposed to do, and then I was in 3D and I was like, I forgot everything. Jesus, I mean, it's not hard for you to understand. Have you ever walked into a supermarket and you had a whole list of things you wanted to buy and your mind went fucking blank? Now, if that can happen in a supermarket, can't you understand how that could happen in an incarnation? Doesn't that make sense? I mean, it's not brain surgery here. We're not trying to. So what's interesting is that I need you who are awakening, or who were born awakened, to honor, not in an arrogant way, not in some stupid ass shit that I hear, I'm from a royal bloodline. None of that bullshit. If you feed your ego, you're going against the grain. If you feed, or you let anyone feed your ego with you're the chosen one, you have just lost the plot of the story of these incarnations. You need to just respect and honor your soul. And that is like self-respect and self-love on a very divine, pure way. And it has no reflection in any egoic, weird storytelling of, I have Rh negative blood, which means I am this and that. I am this and that. Okay? And that makes me above this and that. Well, there are people that have that blood and know nothing. So now what? What does that mean? They're walking around the planet completely 3D, absolutely locked and loaded on the logical thinking cap that they have, and they refuse to take it off. So now what? What does that prove? It isn't blood that makes you who you are. It isn't this avatar you're holding onto, this weird little garment that today you have, that it may have blue eyes or brown eyes or hazel eyes or green eyes. That isn't who you are. What you have on your blood, in your blood, doesn't make you more intelligent than another person. Do you see? Many people are in the New Age. This is why I'm completely arm distancing myself in New Age. Because the New Age community has multiple, minefields of egoic, drenching of many consciousness, and it's throwing people off their path. I'm not joking. It's no different than a Catholic thinking they know more than a Protestant, or a Jewish person, or a Muslim person. It's that kind of fake arrogance of superiority, which is not going to be your ally. It's going to be your jailer. And at that point, now you're in a prison planet, because now you're so limited. Does that make sense? So that's going to be somewhat important for you to self-realize this. So let me see. Remembering who you are after the incarnation amnesia shows you how strong your soul is. Exactly. And so that's going to be the most important part of your journey, is to toggle between the pitfalls of feeding your ego false bullshit, like, I was born to save the planet. Sweetie, we were all born to save the planet. We all have a part in creating that train track to ascension. Each of us are laboring, spiritually speaking, maybe even in other ways, to get that train track finished into 5D ascension, right? And so all of us are equal in this game. No one knows more than the other, but many of us remember more than the other. That's what makes us different. That's about it. But once people start remembering, it slams them into a third eye, and it's almost like this incredible, like, there would be a ripple of fear, I would imagine, and it's almost like this incredible, like, there would be a ripple of fear, I would imagine, and then suddenly ripple of fear, I would imagine, and then suddenly fear, if you really step in and tuck into that fear, it explodes into bliss, into the awakening of aha, like a sigh of relief, of relief and release. And that's going to be very, very important as you go through this journey of really sidestepping the minefields of anything that feeds your false ego, aka the monkey mind. Does that make sense? And so, I told you I saw my first reptilian. I'm not kidding. I mentioned it before, but I'm going to mention it again because this was a reptilian. We're talking about, imagine Mr. Clean, imagine a muscle man, totally muscled, broad face, the whole thing, but with scales. 6'5", 6'4", with broad scales. And here was this reptilian, hard, cold, into doing things on a spacecraft with other people, with other of his own kind, people. I keep saying people, reptilians. And there was a particular moment where he decided, it was time, they were all looking to, in their small individual spacecraft, to blow up a certain planet with sentient beings on it. And instead of getting that rush of adrenaline and bliss of harming other beings, he got blasted by the Son of Awakening. The Son of Awakening felt like he could feel the horror of these souls leaving the planet. He could also see and feel the horror of the planet and its last cry, gasp. Even the planet has a consciousness. We know this now. Read the Emerald Tablet. Thoth talks about this planet you're on that you don't want to be on, which shame on you. And that was me too a while back. That is a consciousness, a real feminine consciousness. That's why we call her Gaia, Pachamama. She is a beautiful soul, a mother, an auntie, a beloved, a grandmother. And anyway, he felt that final dropping of that soul from this planet. And that woke it cracked whatever stone that was called a heart in his heart chakra, broke open like a geode, and suddenly there was an explosion, like the sun exploding in his heart. And he couldn't, it was like he'd been, my God, they just showed me a scene. It was very similar to how David Icke was awakened. Watch the documentary Renegade in Gaia.com, how he was awakened. It was that kind of awakening. It was like boom, and it was just exploding in his heart. It was amazing, intense. And when he got off the spacecraft, he realized he could never go back. And at that point, I saw a ceremony with other reptilians surrounding him. He was on his knees doing harikari. He could no longer be part of this game. And that was a massive awakening. Before that, and then he began his reincarnation in human form. And the first reincarnation I saw in human form that was shown to me was him being on a Viking ship. He was on the bow of the ship looking out to sea, and he was a dwarf. He was a dwarf. And he had a gray beard. That means he'd gone into battle with these men who teased him, who bullied him sometimes, but they cared for him. I wouldn't say they loved him, but they cared for him. And he stood his own in battle, believe it or not. But this was a hard life for him. It was the first life that I saw. That doesn't mean that was the only life. That was the first life that I saw where he was ground to dust in his ego of the intimidation of having a body that was powerful, 6'4", 6'5". That's an intimidation. And imagine being with Vikings who were that height, who were that powerful, and to be a dwarf, and somehow to have survived it, right? The birth, because you know what they did when children were born with any kind of abnormalities, they didn't survive long. They weren't allowed to by usually the tribes, by the way. That's also what makes us a better civilization, because we've learned compassion, we've learned acceptance, we've learned differences, and it is a challenge that has been really well taken on by us during the, I would say it started in the late 70s, early 80s, where we have differences of different beings that have different types of disabilities, from mental to physical, and we are not excluding them from society anymore, thank God. Okay, because before we were throwing them into hospitals and tucked away from society. So we have improved ourselves. So this life where he was a dwarf in this particular, he must have been, I don't know, for him to survive that birth, that was interesting. Okay. But he was shook, you see, because he was like, what, I was a reptilian. I'm like, that's what I'm seeing. And he said, well, was that my first fall? And I said, no, the first fall was where you and a bunch of other souls were near the all. And it was decided to break away. And many of us broke away. Why do you think we're here? Many of us broke away, except they broke away into something more nefarious. And in that became a frequency match to becoming a reptilian, if that makes sense. And then at that point, he reawoken. So it's interesting because I remember having a vision of some reptilians would have the opportunity to go through the cycle we have gone through in multiple incarnations, like hundreds of thousands of incarnations, more like millions. And they will be allowed, they will have the opportunity to actually, as we leave 3D planet Earth into 5D, they will be allowed to have a similar experience that we've had. And while we're gone, they'll have to experience what we had to evolve to the higher level that we are accomplishing. And that means that apparently even reptilians had a beginning. Isn't that interesting? And that many of them will never, and they will refuse to evolve, right, into the light. And that will be handled appropriately by the all. But that many of us will see from afar the evolution of some of them breaking away from that kind of mindset of greed, avarice, hate, war, the love of it, and so forth. So it's interesting. It means everybody can change. There's always a balance, so that means that there's positive and negative in every species. Eventually, yeah, everything happens exactly when it's supposed to. So some have accessed their memories, others have not because it's not time. Nobody is better than another. There are no, exactly, thank you, there are no chosen. What I will say about there's timing, I think that there's timing, but I also think that some people honestly don't want to wake up. Okay, we saw that in the movie The Matrix, the first scene where he says, I don't care if it's a steak, if it's fake, just give me the pill, make me forget everything. I don't want to remember any of this. I don't want to know this. Just make me rich and famous. So let's not forget that there's some people that are not ready. I agree. But there's also some people who are dead set on never remembering. They don't want to remember ever. So I'm going to go ahead and do a tarot reading. And the question I'm asking the universe is, are we correct to think that the 1% has been hell-bent on separating the divine masculine and feminine from union for centuries? Are we correct? Let me see real quick if, hang on. When I asked that question, I did a 3-card spread real quick. Just sometimes I do that just to get a pre-answer. And I got Page of Wands, passion and communication, to the 10 of Swords, a betrayal, 10 swords in the back, to create the 5 of Pentacles. That's a homeless energy. That's feeling bereft. That's feeling completely lost. So the answer is yes. So if you want, let's do a more in-depth. Again, the question is, has the 1% and draconian nefarious powers on the other side of the veils been hell-bent on using the 1% as their conduit to make sure that twins could never be in union? A good example of the first betrayal of this would have been Mary Magdalene and Yeshua, that being ripped out of the Bible, and the truth of her power and her equal powers with Yeshua. Was that done on purpose to create the gender wars that we still see being played out today? And is that one of the reasons why there's such a problem in allowing twins to be in union? And is that a good question? Is that valid? Is that a valid question? And I'm going to go left. The world, the end of a cycle. The King of Swords sideways. That is a very methodical, cold energy. It's gender specific, a masculine energy, patriarch. And it's sideways. So there's a neutrality to it. The Queen of Pentacles is the earth. Queen of Pentacles, I would say Pachamama. Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn energy. Recent past, 4 of Pentacles, holding on to old miserly concerns. 2 of Swords, blindfolded and not wanting to see things for what they are. Again, the question is, has the 1% been used as a conduit through nefarious means by... Again, the question is, has the 1% been used as a conduit through nefarious means by draconians to separate the twin flames from going twin flames, twin race into permanent union. Crowning the reading, the Fool, a brand new beginning, the Whirl, a new cycle. King of Swords is sideways into the Queen of Pentacles, which means, there's a neutrality in the evil that can happen from the King of Swords. The King of Swords can be, it's the law, it's law, it's judge, it's police, it's lawyers, it's coldness, it's the mindset of a logical, hell-bent, holding on to the I'm right, right? Magician is here. What do you want to manifest? Six of Swords moving into calmer waters. The star is 17, which is I want to, the star is healing energy. Wish upon a star. Six of Cups is in the 9th position. It's about past lives. It's about you're coming back to me. I know who you are. And Justice 11, the muzzle lion. Justice is righting the wrongs. Tell me more about the world. Is this real, what I'm asking? Is this a good question when I'm asking about the 1%? Two of Pentacles, juggling material concerns. Two of Wands, stagnation. Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords to the King of Swords is, remember the question is, have been on an energetic level using social media, using all kinds of nefarious means to separate the twin flames and twin race from being in union. And guess what? King of Swords to the Queen of Swords. Soulmates, twin flames, twin race and separation. So far, I'm getting a yes. Tell me more about the Fool. Why is it here? The Ace of Cups, a new love. Tell me more. Queen of Pentacles, again, grounded energy. The Hangman, seeing things from a different perspective. Good, yes, we do need to see things from a different perspective. That makes sense. King of Swords to the Two of Swords. Again, blindfold stagnation. 222. Two of Pentacles, juggling material concerns. Two of Wands, I have the world in my hand, but what do I do? I'm getting a download. Two of Pentacles is juggling material concerns. What is real? My duties are to pay my bills. My duties are to juggle what is more important. I just need to survive. I don't have time for this shit. I don't want to think about my twin or about a union or about the greater good of spiritual ascension work that I'm part of. I don't believe that. I'm not important. Into the Two of Wands, I have the world in my hand, but I don't believe in myself. I mean, other people will handle it. Queen of Swords, analytical energy. Two of Swords, blindfolded. I can't move. I can't move. I'm not moving. Tell me more. Page of Pentacles. Again, material messages into the Chariot upside down. I'm not going anywhere. Queen of Pentacles, why is she here? Seven of Swords, lying to the self. Eight of Wands, not allowing communication to come. Do you see there's a lot of lacks? Chariot is the fastest moving energy in tarot. It means car, it means travel, it means speed. Eight of Wands upside down, no communication, no speed. Because why? Seven of Swords, lying to yourself. There's a new beginning in the material world that wants to happen. People stuck in 3D mindset. Seven of Swords, lying to yourself. There's a new beginning in the material world that wants to happen. People stuck in 3D mindset, allowing this to... The Magician. Magician wants to manifest in the material world, but Nine of Swords comes in. Anxiety. I'm not good enough. I'm not ready. I'll never be able to do that. I've never won in my life before, not really big stuff, so why should I win anything? Nine of Swords. Nightmares. Can't sleep. Eight of Cups. I want to walk away. I want more. Tell me more. Nine of Wands. I'm no longer exhausted, but I'm exhausted because I got to learn new things. Eight of Pentacles. Tell me more about Six of Swords. Moving into calmer waters. What do I want? Calmer waters. What is calm? In other words, when you're about to ascend on another plateau, you're going to get haunted. And you're going to want to push it away going, I don't have time for this shit. I don't have time for this. Leave me alone. I just want my peace. Six of Swords. Moving into calmer waters. But that's not it. Five of Cups. Disappointments. Disappointments from past relationships, past situations. Disappointments. But the Two of Cups behind the Five of Cups. So look, visualize this. It's a guy standing at the edge of a river. There's 3 cups on the floor, spilled. But behind him are 2 cups. And the universe is saying, turn around. Yeah, we know in the beginning of your life you were disappointed. We know that. But turn around. There's new beginnings. Into the Wheel of Fortune. We're on your side. Your luck is on your side. Into 6 of Cups. Something you've always wanted is coming back to you. Something that is love, that is from past lives. 17, the Star. What is this about? Ace of Swords upside down. I'm not speaking the truth. People around you aren't speaking the truth. Also, what does it mean? Eight of Swords. I'm no longer a prisoner of my own mind. Tell me more. into Three of Pentacles. I want to master myself. It also means to master yourself. You cannot listen to the lies, and you cannot listen to those lies. And you're actually getting to understand that because you are in a healing journey. Wish upon a star, looking at the stars. Why? Because that's where you come from. So no longer are you in the prison of your own mind, Eight of Swords upside down, and you're going through a mastery. Justice, why is it here? Three of Swords, broken hearts, betrayals. Six of Pentacles upside down, no longer breadcrumbing yourself or allowing it. Into the Six of Swords, moving into calmer waters. That's a theme. I just want peace. Yes, I know you want peace, but to have peace, you have to know how you're being manipulated. Overtly and covertly. That's how it works. Master yourself. Right. Tell me more about the Six of Swords. I'm getting another deck. Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups is new love. Why? Because you've been separated for eons. And every time, even if you're separated by 8 days, it is a new love. Why? Because now, have you noticed that with a twin separation, as you come back together again, it gets better and better and better? If that's not your truth, it's not a twin flame. It's not a twin flame. I will guarantee it's not. Because every time twins come back, it's a little bit better by 5%, 10%, whatever. And some of you, unfortunately, will never be in union with your twin, not because you're wrong, but because your twin is hell-bent in the 3D world. They're like a pig in slop. They won't leave. And that's a reality. Eight of Pentacles, learning new things. Yeah, learning new things because new love is coming. Love for yourself, love with your person. And Eight of Pentacles, I've got to learn new rules of engagement, new ways. Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune in Kabbalah numerology is represented by the number 10. In tarot, it's 10. What is 10? Isis, Osiris, the balance of the divine masculine and feminine. In believing, even unto death, that we are together forever. That we will always be together. That there's no such thing as separation ever. And the Wheel of Fortune is we're on your side. Into 10, what is 10? 10 plus 0 is 1. The sun. It's not here, but I'm seeing the sun coming in. What does the sun mean? Clarity. Healing. It's one of the best cards. Into the King of Pentacles. And that's the last cards. I've got 2 Queen of Pentacles to the King of Pentacles. I got the King and Queen of Swords. We began this. The epicenter of the reading was about the King and Queen of Swords in separation, and the King of Swords sideways. Which, if he goes upside down, he's a complete a-hole. I mean, cold as fuck. But the last card we're getting from this whole reading is the King of Pentacles to the Queen of Pentacles. This is a grounded energy. It is a reliable energy. And so a transformation happens when you realize that part of the reason why the separation has been, has been architected by nefarious forces on the other side, using the 1%, using the material world to fuck us up so badly that we can't even look up because we're so busy running and homework for the kids. And I got to take the kid to the baseball game. And oh my God, my mortgage and the interest rates and the school tax and that tax, this tax and the other tax. And I owe taxes. And do you get what I'm saying? Oh my God, a medical bill. Billy broke his arm. Oh shit. I don't have $7,000. All of these things are in play to keep us separated and for us to, like, literally in frustration roar our partner going, fuck, I don't have time for your shit. And then we collapse into depression, going, why don't you pick me? Pick me. Pick me. Toxic loyalty is a dangerous thing. Divine unconditional loyalty is not the same. Divine unconditional loyalty is saying, I will do all of this for you, but this is where I draw the line for me. There's not, toxic loyalty has ended women and men in jail. A great movie I had my son watch. He couldn't believe how good it was. It's called Body Heat. Watch Body Heat with William Hurt. Body Heat with William Hurt. Watch it this week. And that movie will blow your mind. It's what they call a film noir. And there you see toxic loyalty in action. Where you just just doesn't think, just sign anything, do anything. It's a mind-blowing movie. It's a perfect example of toxic loyalty. And that's not to say that, toxic loyalty can fuse into and stain all relationships, from a karmic, what you call a karmic, which is a soul contract loop, to a soulmate. And when you watch that movie with William Hurt, again, Body Heat, you're going to see, I don't even know, I'm not going to say I'm not going to call it a twin flame movie. I'm not, okay, at all. But I could say it's a karmic. And the whole lesson for him in the movie, it's, is to go, you know what, the sex is good and I feel connected, but no, you're on your own now. Like, I'm not doing that at all. And that's important. She's kind of like the woman, I think her name is Kathleen Turner. Yeah, Kathleen Turner is a Black Widow. You'll see what I mean. So going back to the 1% doing what they're doing, so now you understand why you've got Twin Flame Universe. You understand why Twin Flame Universe got so incredibly successful spewing the shit they spewed. I mean, if you really listen to what they said, and you sit back with somewhat of a conscious mind, you're going to say, what the how could they do that? To the point where they had, they guarantee you would be in your in a twin flame union if you did what they'd said. And what that meant for them was they would force you into someone and say, yeah, that's your twin flame. They would also force someone to actually become gay, to change gender. No one in their right mind would sit there going, wait, hang on, you're telling me, like, okay, let's use me as an example. So I'm going and taking their classes at $3,000 or whatever the hell they're charging per session, per quarter, whatever. And suddenly they tell me in a Zoom class, yeah, Billy over there is your twin flame. Billy's a girl, by the way. And Billy's your twin flame, and you need to be the man, so you need to go through gender reassignment. What? People went for that. That was Twin Flame Universe. That is a cult. And it is the most toxic shit I've ever seen. And yet people are still throwing them money, in spite of what's been exposed. So you realize the New Age movement, right? It did not invent twin flames. How dare they even say they did? The first person in written, recorded history to ever mention twin flame, twins, twin souls, was Plato. That's who first actually, in record, first spoke of the twin with the four arms and the four legs and the two separating. Being a philosopher, in meditation, he must have seen things, seen connections with people that were beyond the beyond words, beyond explanation. He must have gotten downloads, being that he didn't have satellites over his head, cell phones ringing, and the bullshit of trying to just survive, right? There was ease in his life. And ease from money, ease from paying bills and hustling, will create a philosopher. No shit, you got the time. You can hammock, you can smoke a joint, you can kind of think, look at the ocean for hours. What do you think is going to happen? You think you're going to be like empty-minded? You're going to have all kinds of downloads happening. It's another reason why they have a system like this, to keep you spiritually broke. So the answer is yes. The 1%, through nefarious beings on the other side of the veils, have been making sure that many of you would think that this is a prison planet. And of course it's not. It never was. And for people to actually push that in the New Age community is, again, toxicity at its finest. You got to admire people that do these kinds of brainwashing tactics, using spirituality to get you going, to get you in a place of fear and feeling jailed. That's an awful feeling. It must be an awful feeling. I can't imagine that feeling, honestly. But what I will say to you is that as long as you play in that game will be your reality. It's that simple. It's really that simple. So the key is to do what? Well, I've been really, really pushing the Emerald Tablet because, honestly, I'd heard about it for decades, to be honest. And I'm ashamed to say that I never read it. And when I read it, mind blown, my whole level of understanding of reality and what came before us was shook. And if there's any book I would say is our actual, you want to call it a Bible, the Torah, the that's it. That's the book. Because there's nothing deviant, there's nothing disgusting, there's nothing repugnant. It's just pure truth in the highest level of light. And all it tries to show us is go to the light. Go to the light, my child. Just go there. And what does that mean? Well, it means the opposite of what we've been taught. In every ancient scripture, there's something that goes south. And you're like, wait, hang on. In damn near all of them, there's a lot of beautiful nectar in, say, the Buddha teachings, and also in the Bhagavad Gita. There's a lot of nectar in there. But when I read the Old Testament, I can't. You know what I mean? I can't. Oh, I've been restricted again. Okay, whatever. I don't even care. Everyone's truth is different, purely conditioned upon what you believe subconsciously. Everyone's truth is different, purely conditioned upon what you believe subconsciously. Yeah, well, that's why you have to hack. You know, it's funny how we understand hackers who hack into systems to get real truth, like WikiLeaks, right? But we don't understand how that works for our monkey minds. So the subconscious has to be hacked. How do you hack it? Through meditation, through pranayama, through mantras, through reading truths, through seeking truth with a ferocity that will not accept one more thing that smacks of rhetoric or propaganda of anything, of any kind. Anything that makes you go, wait, hang on, what? I'm okay to marry a 6-year-old, or I'm okay to marry to have multiple wives, or I'm okay to. That's when you have to hit the brakes. Okay, I just heard of a preacher who said, who answered the question. Somebody asked him, are women and men allowed to be? No, are women and children? That was the question. Excuse me. Are women and children allowed to be unalivened by force? Their lives stolen, ripped out of their hands by, well, God says that. No, it's not God that's doing it, dude. You're not answering the question. The question is, would God accept that? Does he accept people ripping the lives out of people's hands? Well, people die in multiple. No, dude, that's not what I asked. Does God approve of, let me ask it again, of women and children's lives being ripped out of their hands? That's the question. But these preachers and these whatever people that many people go to, many people who've been shamed of being homosexual, for example, they go to these people, or they want to save their marriage, they go to these people who will go right back to these rhetorics and these toxic stanzas or whole fucking paragraphs or whole chapters that are toxic as fuck to the human consciousness. The question is, would that be approved by the all? The answer is fucking no. Well, people will die. Well, you know, because if a person's supposed to die, I'm going to bring up the airport incident. There's 2 accidents I'm going to bring up. One is the helicopter pilot, and this is a true story. I actually know the story. I read the story as it was happening because I remember it was LA. It was a helicopter pilot, Vietnam vet. He was doing the news. You know, when they go up in the morning to look at, you know, especially in LA, you might not have that in all states, but in LA, they have these helicopter pilots who go up and tell you the traffic, the congestion, what freeway to avoid, things of that nature. Okay, he was that guy. And the helicopter crashed. It crashed, and everyone survived. And it was a crash. No one should have survived, but everyone survived. A week later, everyone survived. And it was a crash. No one should have survived, but everyone survived. A week later, so he was supposed to go. They weren't, but he was. Do you understand? That's how that works. Another story, which is really well known, is O'Hare Airport. There was an accident where a plane, for some reason, on liftoff, crashed and flipped into 4 feet of water. Something like, it was weird. It was like a freak accident. And this man actually missed his plane. Everyone in that plane did not survive. But anyway, from what I remember. And he had missed the plane. And he was on his way to, he was in a taxi, on his way to a hotel, planning to get the following day's plane out of of Chicago. And he passed away from a heart attack. He was supposed to go. That's how that works. But this concept of wars and Geno and all of that, like that's God's plan. No, that's not God's plan. Let's not gaslight ourselves. And the problem is there are people who actually read this shit and we'll go, yeah, that's it. That's it. It's supposed to happen. I have a right to take women and children's life. It's my right. And this has gone on for thousands of years. That is the problem. Hope this will be okay on YouTube. I don't align with any God who is okay with people being... Well, there's no God that's aligned with that. None. The gods that are in the Old Testament that is talking about all kinds of bullshit is, we know, is one of the Anunnakis. Okay, we know this because when you reread it after reading Zachariah Stitchin's Sumerian tablet translations, you go, wait, hang on, what the fuck? After reading Zachariah Stitchin's Sumerian tablet translations, you go, wait, hang on, what the fuck? And I have to admit that one of the reasons why me and my twin fell was with an Anunnaki who posed as a god. So that was one of my falls. But because we stepped in thinking, because we were gullible, because what you have to understand, we have become streetwise souls now. Like when we ascend to 5D, 6D, 7D, no one can hustle ever again. We're like, yeah, Not because we're cynical, but because we've lived the truth of how diabolical. But when we were in our pure self, coming out of being breathed and born and birthed into life, when we were first made as souls, we were innocent. And we did not know that such evil existed. That duplicity, that people did not, or excuse me, let me repeat, not people, souls would telepathically communicate lies to our very to harm us, to trick us, and to do things that would make us lose our consciousness for thousands of years. That's why I'm coming out as a lion, as a content creator, because our consciousness for thousands of years. That's why I'm coming out as a lion, as a content creator, because I'm fucking pissed, because we thought that what we were being shown was the truth, and all we wanted was the truth to go back to source. And it's almost like a little 3-year-old running away, not running away, but walking away too far ahead in the woods, losing sight of the parents, taking the right turn. Now the parent's calling out to you, and the parent can't find you, and you were lost to them in the woods. It's in a sense what happened to us as souls. We lost our way from the all, from the Creator. We lost our way, wandering, exploring, doing what is normal of a curious consciousness. It's normal. There's nothing unhealthy with that first step out, away from a parent, and in this case, the all. But then we lost our way, and then we got influenced by creatures that were evil and dark, and we didn't recognize it for what it was because we were innocent. It's normal. It's nothing to beat yourself up, but what pisses me off is that in the last 2,000 years, we have these supposed holy books that have only done more damage than God. I mean, look at the fucking wars. I mean, look at the wars. That's not the all. So when they say my God, now I'm realizing they're not kidding. Yeah, that's your God. You realize that your God is an Anunnaki? Okay, enjoy. Go with that. Tell me how that goes. And having a reverence to that is going to be very important for our own soul's growth. It's not a disrespect. It's saying, this is not in alignment with what I know is the light. Because anything that supports anything like Geno is not of the light. Yeah, we did not know bad. Exactly. And so I think that's important for us to understand. Any questions or comments? Thank you for your comments. I'm still fighting with the understanding that not everyone has the same intentions as I do. There's nothing to fight. Just realize, yes, it will be on YouTube. Believe me, it'll be on YouTube. And Lil and Murdoch. Yes. And then you had Thoth, and there's so many myths and stories around Thoth because of what he was. Thoth the Atlantean. Well, before that, what was he? You know what I mean? Let's be honest. They say that Jesus, Yeshua, was from another planet. It could have been that he was a hybrid, because I did see what you would call biracial marriages, between humanoids and for example, the Pleiadians. I haven't seen anything but the Pleiadians so far, just to be honest. But I feel like when we look at our subconscious so far, just to be honest, but I feel like when we look at our subconscious, we have to hack away all the dirt and the muck, and it's almost like a oil spill in our subconscious. And that oil spill, look at what it does to birds, to sea life, to everything that thrives in the ocean. And so similarly, we have to be very conscious about getting that oil spill out of our heads, subconsciously, consciously. There's some scars of these incarnations, and that's one of the reasons why, I love what I do as a hypnotherapist and an Akashic reader, because I get to give people back a sense of themselves so that they can move forward at the speed of light. Because it's important to get out of this dark, oil-drenched consciousness. And so it's no wonder so many people are like deathly afraid of moving away from the Bible or the Torah, the Quran. I mean, I was looking up, does the Torah really say that, it's okay to rip all these creatures' lives out of their hands? I prefer that term. Children, women, suckling children, suckling infants. And unfortunately, yeah, so I'm like, why would anybody fucking do that and believe that? I go, well, this is God. No, that's not the all. And anyway, I don't know what else to say. I can't add to that. There's nothing to add to. It's either you want to be in the light or you don't. It's to what level do you want to be at the light? Do you want to be at the light where it's convenient for you and you still want to be a capitalist and you still want to live this lie and you still want to, because you benefit from this lie? Are you that person, or are you the person that is actually being harmed by this lie? And because of you're being harmed by the lie, you are hell-bent on getting out of this 3D infrastructure into the new earth. So part of the suffering that we've had to do, because imagine, let's be honest as human beings. If you were sitting on $1 billion, living the best life you've ever had, if you're a man, you got all the chicks you want, you got the love of your life. If you're a woman, you're getting all the Birkin bags, all the makeup, all the massages, you got a man that loves you. Would you really be hell-bent on the awakening of this beautiful, luscious dream filled in 3D benefits? Or would you really? That's what makes Buddha's story so amazing. Because see, he did. See, he saw the suffering of other people. He saw death, disease, and old age and went, wait, hang on. What the fuck is this? Like, wait, hang on. His life was beautiful. He was a prince, right? And he was never going to suffer, ever, as Prince Siddhartha. He was going to inherit the kingdom. And what's interesting about him is he left. In the 1960s and 70s, there were debutantes, millionaires, heiresses, and heirs going to India to find the truth. So even when people are billionaires, many or multimillionaires, they suffer something. It's an unconscious, it's like a depression. And you're like, why are they depressed? Because their soul is like yours. It remembers home and it doesn't know why it's feeling so lonely. And it's attaching loneliness with being rich and people wanting shit from them because they're rich. But the smart ones will break away and go to places like in the old days. In those days, they would go to India. Now they go to South America to do ayahuasca. My shaman met one of the Rothschilds who did ayahuasca with her twice. And so some of them are awakening in spite of all that wealth. Because there's this weird humming loneliness that they can't seem to shake. The problem is that they have a lot of people that surround them constantly that are just happy-go-lucky, having parties after parties after parties. And in no way do they want to wake up. Why would they? So it's interesting. But for many of us who have suffered from the capitalistic boot on our throats, that has made us awaken. For some of us, that awoke. A lot of people woke up because of the COVID lockdown. For many of us, we were born awake. Period. Awake. Boom. And so whatever you do with that information is for you to help yourself continue your journey, never looking back, and don't try to convince someone of anything that is hell-bent on holding on to their dogmatic beliefs that are going to give them more suffering. You can't help them. That's it. It's not, you're going to waste a lot of precious time instead of evolving out of your own animalistic fear that you have, that reptilian in your root chakra. Okay? And that's going to be that's the most important thing you can do. I don't align it with any God who is okay with people being unalive in his name, period. Hope this will, okay, sorry. I mean, yes, I will put it, I put a lot of them on my YouTube now. No matter how much I had or did not have, I have always longed for home. Exactly. We who are awake couldn't care less about material status. Exactly. I'm glad you're talking about this today. I needed this. Thank you. You're welcome, Anita. I'm glad. I always wonder what the subject is going to be. And I'm not sure, right? But I knew that today's question was, have the 1% been hell-bent on making sure that we stay separated from our twin, right? So the answer was yes. You can't make this shit up. The next question is, what is the power that twin flames have? By the way, I forgot to tell you, how did I know that the twin ray was a twin ray? Because when I threw the cards, every card I'm looking for was in it. I couldn't fucking believe it. Before I even finished, it was there. And I knew from what she was saying, right, that most likely they were not flames with rays. But when I finally did the actual tarot reading, because think of tarot readings are hieroglyphs. They speak to me like that's how the cards and my guides speak to me through the cards. With clarity. Like I don't need the cards typically, but I use them because I get more visual clarity. And it's like, oh yeah, bingo. Okay, so the question we're asking the universe is, what is the power of twin flames if they come into union that graduate into twin rays? What is the power left? The Seven of Pentacles, do I invest in this journey? Many of you are asking yourself, do I invest in this journey alone or with your twin? If your twin passes before you, the journey continues. You know that. Seven of Pentacles is, do I invest? Eight of Cups, sideways. I don't want to walk away. Seven of Swords, lying to the self. Knight of Cups, crowning the reading. Recent past, Nine of Pentacles. I am in my own power. I don't need anyone. Ace of Pentacles, new beginnings. Crowning the reading, Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups is an offer of love. It's a message of love. Seven of Pentacles, do I invest? Eight of Cups, I don't want to walk away. Seven of Swords, lying to the self. Toxicity, the devil. Let's keep going. Death, transformation, Empress, the cornucopia of abundance. Three of Cups, it could be third party. Three of Wands, it could be third party. So that's, that, you know. But Three of Wands is also the portals of open. Let's go. Tell me more about the Seven of Pentacles. What is this? The King of Swords is an analytical energy that is going and clashing against the Four of Wands, 11-11. Six of Wands, I'm going to win this. Okay, tell me more about the benefits of these unions. Tell me about the Knight of Cups. The Devil. The Devil's coming up twice. I know what the Devil is. I'll tell you what it is. For it to come up twice already, how many cards do we have on the table? 14 cards. Let me tell you what it means. Many of you don't think you can be in your mission with without your twin. Many of you feel as if when my twin comes, then I'll be in my mission. You got it backwards. When you're in mission, your twin will come. It's a looping of I need this to do that. And that is the wrong path. Tell me more about the Knight of Cups. Four of Swords upside down. I've healed from my pain. Ten of Wands, I'm dropping my burdens. Excellent. Very good. Eight of Cups sideways. What does that mean? Seven of Swords again. Seven of Swords, lying, fool upside down, no new beginnings. Four of Pentacles, holding on to material concerns. Yeah, let me tell you something. When you come into union, you will kick ass in this life or the next. But what I'm seeing is that you guys are lying. They're lying about the connection. The rhetoric of logic is here. It is a trap. It is blades of it's like jail. It's like a jail. It's like swords surrounding you, literally, actually, surrounding you like a jail, like a cage. But you can overcome that with the Four of Wands, 11-11. You're on the right track to become a triumphant, conquering hero, Six of Wands. But the Devil twice, the Seven of Swords twice. They're lying to themselves. You're lying to yourself. You think that you can't get a new beginning, which is the Fool upside down into the Four of Pentacles, because you're holding to your bullshit of I can't be this or that without my twin. Now, let me say this, okay? That doesn't mean that you should be doing, I'm going to be straight up with you. There are people that are coaching about twin flames, and they're not in union. They've never lived with their twin. They've never been in union with their twin, either verbal. You know, what is union? Let me just break down what is union. Union is talking every day. Talking every day, sharing things every day. Maybe they live in another country. Maybe they live next door. They might be married to someone else. but you talk every day. That's union. Believe it or not. You might have a fight. You're flames, not rays. Of course you're going to have fights, unfortunately. You might not talk for 7 days at most, but then you talk again. You might have silence for 2 months, but that's usually because you've got to recalibrate and learn things on your own, away from each other, and realize that you guys can't. You're having a hard time not being in each other's frequency. It's hard. So that's union, believe it or not. Then there's physical union with the union. And of course, that also is union. Of course, living together, paying bills, exploring life together and all of that, that is union. But the Seven of Swords is this incredible logical mind that both of you have. Your logical mind saying, I can't do this without them. Their logical mind is, it doesn't make sense. I've got to move on. Or vice versa, whatever. Seven of Swords, again, tell me why the Seven of Swords is here. Death, transformation. You guys have 3 repeats, which are mirrors. You've got death twice, Seven of Swords twice, the devil twice. So there's some toxicity here. Okay, into the magician. The magician, there's some narcissism to the Knight of Wands. Yeah, death to the magician, to the Knight of Wands is wishy-washy energy. What do I manifest? I don't know what to manifest. Well, why don't you manifest your evolution? Why don't you manifest you being in mission? What does that mean? Helping others. That's your mission. Being confident in what you're helping. Because the Knight of Wands is wishy-washy energy. Tell me about the devil again. Well, the devil again is Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups to the Nine of Swords upside down again, which weird because I turned the card above. I flipped all the cards upright, so that's weird. Hang on for a quick second. That's weird. And but the love is coming in. Ace of Cups, Nine of Swords upside down means I'm no longer conflicted. Queen of Cups, I'm in my heart. I'm in my heart space. Good. Death again. Why is death here? Hierophant. Hierophant is Taurus energy at its highest spiritual level. It's traditional values. It's marriage commitment. Into the Chariot, fast-moving energy, Cancer energy. Into the Nine of Wands, exhaustion. Like, when is this going to happen? When am I going to be there? The transformation is going to be radical. It has to be. For both of you, clearly. The Empress, why is she here, please? The cornucopia of abundance. Page of Pentacles, basic messages. The messages are not... they're brass tacks. How are you doing? Not, I missed you. I had a dream about you. This dream was X, Y, and Z. And the person responding, oh my God, I had a dream about you. Holy shit. It's like none of that real intimate, real sharing of downloads that you're being shown by your universe. So we got the Two of Swords, stagnation, not saying anything or doing anything, to the Ten of Pentacles, wanting material union in a material way. Okay? And Three of Wands, why is it here? Three of Wands is a portal opening to the lovers, a choice, to the Five of Swords, mental conflict, to the Five of Cups, which is disappointment based on what? So I'm reading an energy of toxicity, denial, fear of past regret with either this relationship where you guys go through the looping of breaking up and coming back together, fights and coming back together, and thinking that this is all it will ever be. Are there some twins that are so toxic they're beyond repair in this incarnation? Yes. Why is that? They have their own soul contract, as you do, and they've chosen not to repair themselves. Free will is a double-edged sword. Five of Cups, why is that here? Five of Swords. Six of Cups, thinking of the past. Six of Swords, wanting new love. In other words, a new beginning filled with peace. The Moon, 18, spiritual material conflict. How do I get there? Well, you get there with a belief. The lack of confidence that twin flames have in particular, is not shocking to me, but it's shocking to me now because of what I know I've experienced my own self in my twin journey. And what I can tell you is that had I known this, say, even 10 years ago, I could have saved myself. And so I'm going to try to save you a lot of grief, but I could have saved myself years of grief. Is that the twin flame cannot be destroyed. Even if the twin is as toxic as fuck, you will haunt them as they haunt you. This is something you have to have the confidence that many of us lack in the beginning of these journeys. Once you know it's a twin, I assure you, that you might be more haunted than them only because you're more conscious, and your toxic loop is you're on that hamster wheel looping in obsessive thoughts that are harming you. And I understand that. This is why chanting Sanskrit, not affirmations, oh, I'm free to be who I am. I'm so sick of these affirmations. I'm going to be straight up with you. I'm so sick. When somebody tells you this is the medicine to take, why then go and get something else at the pharmacy? Why? When somebody just told you 1,000 people have said this work, 100 million people have said this work, but no offense, I'm getting irritated here because it's irritating me because I did this with an altar. I showed a group of my beautiful sisters, and one of them did it, and she shared this. So I'm going to share it with you, and she knows who she is. Booked $1,000 in like less than 5 days. Because I said, don't deviate on what I'm saying. On what they're saying in those pages, do exactly what they're saying. Don't fucking make it cute. Don't make it pretty, but do exactly what they say. Exactly, to the letter. And you will see, boom. And she went, I can't fucking believe it. My husband can't even believe it. We were making our bills and this, that. So when I tell you the medicine is this, it's not affirmations. Louise Hay was important. She's the queen of affirmations. She invented affirmations. And I learned from her when I was a kid, 15, 16. But now it's Sanskrit. Why? We don't know why. Just like I don't know why the altar works. I don't know why the altar works for money. I don't. But it fucking works. So if I tell you to use Sanskrit to control your monkey mind so you can get in closer union, or at least, if not in this, if your twin is so fucking toxic that it can't happen in this incarnation, then know that you're planting the seeds for the next incarnation in a different realm where you will meet. Because if you're going into 5D, that means they need to grow up and hurry up, right? So, but trust when somebody tells you something that works. So if somebody tells you that do this because this works, then your job is to, there's a point where you need to surrender and go, well, wow, there are a lot of people, like millions of people have done this and it's working. So what the fuck is wrong with me that I want to do something completely different? Oh, I'll just do an affirmation. When I tell you to do aham prema, and I tell you it means I am divine love, I tell you what it means. I didn't say I am divine love. I am saying do the Sanskrit, aham prema. Why? Because it's a mathematical language. I've explained to you in multiple lives. I don't know why. To be honest, do I know why? No, but I know it fucking works because it is Sanskrit. It is the most ancient language we recall. There are languages older than that, of course, we know, but that is the most ancient language we can articulate. How about that? And it has a vibration frequency that does X, Y, Z. So why would you say I am divine love when I've just told you to say aham prema? Does that make sense? I'm giving you examples. Does that make sense? And I'm sorry I'm being stern. But I'm being stern for your good. I honestly, what you do doesn't affect me at all. So if I'm passionate to tell you that this works, then fucking, I don't understand. Do it. I don't get it. Just do it. And you will reap what you sow. And that's what's going to be part of your journey. Does that make sense? I'm hearing it's the closest language to source that we have access to. Yes, it is. Because light language, though people, honestly, you've heard light language. Now, light language is, some people actually, they don't sound like they're doing light language at all. It sounds like babbling. Some people have a light language that they actually download and it feels real. And I know you know what I mean. But it is not something you can learn today. No one has a fucking dictionary on light language. Let's be honest. So it's not like you can learn it. And not to mention, it's I don't even want to go too much into it. Just trust me that the Sanskrit is something that's going to give you what you're looking for. But so far, the reading on what is the benefit of the twin flame journey, we talked about the 1% being part of the debacle of the gender wars that we're seeing. And when we tried to do a reading on recapping on this, there's a lot of toxicity. There's a lot of looping, toxicity, disbelief, ego, what you think, how it should look. And a lot of smart people have said that twin flame union is not a relationship. Twin ray is not a relationship. It's a union. What does that mean? Well, look at some of the archetypes. Look at Osiris and Isis. What happened to that? If you don't know that story, go look it up. What happened to I can't say that about Krishna and Radha, but I know Rama Sita, there were some problems. And look at Yeshua and Mary Magdalena. Look at those problems. So, but they were in union. They were twin rays in union. And they were always in union, even when he dropped his body eventually. However you believe he dropped his body, eventually he did drop his body ahead of hers. And she continued her relationship with him on the other side. And she continued her ministry. So we know that for a fact. Have you ever heard the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic? Right? Have you ever heard the Lord's Prayer in Aramaic? Well, you should. If you haven't, listen to the guy who played, I forgot his name, but the guy who played Yeshua in the movie Passion of the Christ. And when you hear him say it, you close your eyes and it is nectar to the ears. Nectar. Okay? It's all I got. I feel like I'm calling everyone back to the split. I'm not opposed to a twin, but I feel poly. What's your advice? I don't know about multiple wives. Poly, so far, I haven't seen a poly energy of, because I've studied poly, believe it or not. I watched literally couples on YouTube for a long time. There was also a couple that was polyamorous on one of those documentary, real life shit, reality TV type of thing. She had a nervous breakdown. I was on her newsletter because I wanted to see. I'm curious about the human condition. And there was another couple out of the Catskills, Brittany and Connor, and they broke up. It doesn't fucking work. It doesn't work because what you're doing is you're allowing other energies in your union. In Krishna's, there's a story of him marrying 16,000 gopi girls because they were going to lose their honor because of it's kind of like, I'm not going to go into it, but he marries 16,000 gopi girls, right? He never touches them ever because he is the divine consort to Radha. He never has sex with them. But the problem with the Ishkan movement, trust toxic men to come up with that. And suddenly you had toxic men, because good men don't do that shit. Good, honest men like Yeshua you don't think Yeshua could have had 3 or 4 wives? You don't think he had bimbos running after him while he was administering? Sounds like he was a pretty good looking guy and charismatic and magnetic and magical. You don't think Mary Magdalene, you really think that was the only chick that was running after him? And she wasn't running after him. She was his divine consort. A good man, a man in his integrity doesn't want that shit. Because he knows that he's splitting and he's spreading his energies. And that means he's depleting his sexual energies, his spiritual energies, and in energies to connect with God. Make love to one. And then make love to God. Don't make love to this one and today, Wednesday, there's Wednesday girl, Thursday girl, and Friday girl. And then you're too exhausted to ever connect with the all. And to yourself and to your excavation. I mean, come on, man. Let's be real. Poly is a weak way of saying that I feel as if I'm not enough for the person. Of course you're not enough for the person. No one can fully fulfill any one human being. That's why you have friends. You have good friends. But that doesn't mean you have to go to bed with your very, very good friends. Why do we have to sexualize everything? And that is a problem. And poly is a lack of discipline. I'm saying it straight up because I haven't seen one poly union that was a success. I'm answering it truthfully from my point of view. Of having really looked into it, thinking maybe that would be good for us. Believe me, I've explored everything that would have been interesting or good or something, and I saw these unions fucking collapse in less than 7 years. Nothing. And then I've seen poly used by Buddha Bun, and I'm being funny when I say that, wearing men who want to convince the 45-year-old that the 21-year-old they brought into their bed is because she can learn how to deal with her jealousy. Okay, well, let me bring myself a young stud who will make love to me than you, and let's see how you do while you're hearing the noises behind the closed door. My point is, poly is not sustainable. Is it fun for people? Yes. Is there nectar in that? Yes. Will it last for 30 years? No. And there are marriages, I was one of them, that lasted for 30 years in absolute monogamy. Was it boring at some point? Yes. Did it have stagnation moment? Yes. But for some reason, poly relationships don't want to go through those kinds of dark moments in committed relationships. They choose not to. I don't know why. And that's why I say it's a lack of discipline. Because in discipline, you go, right now it's boring. We need to do something else. What should we do? What should we do to bring back intimacy into our relationship? Should we go somewhere else? Should we walk away from the day-to-day, stagnation of this incarnation? Should we go to the Bahamas and make love on a beach? Should we go to France and stay in a beautiful hotel and have room service brought to us while we make love for the whole weekend and we explore each other? Why don't poly couples try to ignite their relationship with each other? No, they tend to go with the other partner. They leave because now there's no more flame. There's no more electricity. There's no more lustful, beautiful desire. And they go with the next person that came in. That's what I've seen. And if it could work, I'd say great. I do wish to be good and honest. I don't know what to share. I'm sorry. It's not to shame anyone. It's to say, 23, thank you. It's to say that's what I've seen. That's what I've seen. Whenever I've seen couples. In fact, there was a particular couple. I think she was Dutch and he was Indonesian. A beautiful couple. She was beautiful. He was beautiful. And they had the perfect, in my opinion, perfect marriage. Do you know when it fell apart? They did find the unicorn chick. I call her unicorn because she was not going to try to steal him. She was not going to try to steal her. She was just somebody who they brought in to have sex, right? And they had sex. And it was great. And then, boom, I watched them. It started going downhill. She had a beautiful podcast. Oh, fuck, I wish I could remember. I even bought something from her shop. I really thought, well, maybe they have something because they were really honest. They lived in Bali. Everything was good. She even fasted for like 23, I'm making that number up, but I think it was like 21 days. And she went into the jungles and she was emotional. And yeah, because when you fast on water, you're fucking somatically purging as well as physically. But the minute they brought in that third party, even though it was a unicorn, even though it was the perfect, they had been looking and looking, which is a lot of distraction, looking and looking. And that's it. It collapsed. Osho, which I can't stand that man for now. I don't know why he's quoted. I don't know why people admire him. His whole thing was a sex cult. And it was. At night, everyone was allowed to go and choose a new partner for the night. You know what I mean? And so, which is, right, polyamory, in a grander scale of polyamory. And what was interesting about Deva, Premal, and Mita is that they would always choose each other. They could have chosen anybody they wanted. They always chose each other. And that was amazing. What an amazing test. What a testament to their love for each other and their devotion to each other amidst that shit that was going on. A distraction to control. Because I don't know if you guys know, because if you were going to live in Osho's ashrams, that was not a slip. You had to give up all your property. All your property had to go to him. That's a cult. Why he's quoted, I don't know. There's not one word he says that I want to listen to. So, but he was able to control people through sex, through their root chakra. And that's the problem. Okay? Let me see. I also believe in morality. I read that. The live cut off for me for a while, unfortunately. Well, hopefully it'll be up in a minute. It will be up in a minute. I will upload it soon, today, this afternoon, so you can listen to it again. It's on my YouTube channel. Okay? But you're asking the right questions. You're asking intelligent questions. You're asking questions that every human being has had to go through. There are planets where polyamory is done in a way that the devotion to those who are in the group, like a group of 5 or a group of 4, right? There's honor, there's integrity, there's devotion, there's loyalty, and there's no bullshit. There are planets where polyamory is successful because of these rules of engagement. But in the human experience of 3D, it's a revolving door, because what it does is, this is why body counts are important. Because if you've had 100, if a woman or a man has had 100, 200 lovers, it's not, they're not as, they don't equate sexuality or sex with another human being as the most intimate thing you can do with somebody else. They don't equate it anymore because it's been diluted. That's why when a twin walks in and a person's had, like, say 100, 200 lovers, their mind is still blown, but they're confused, and their monkey mind still loops into, yeah, it's just, it's just an off. I've had good sex with other people, forgetting that, no, this is not good sex. This is great sex. You've never had sex like that. And they dilute it with their monkey mind. They gaslight themselves. And that can be a problem. I had a twin who was in a situation where her twin was polyamorous, wanted to continue being polyamorous. She's monogamous, and they're not going to be in union because he refuses to get out from between his root chakra. He's more interested in what's between his legs than what's in his heart and in his mind. I'm just being straight up. I may sound judgmental, and you're right. I am being judgmental because it's heart and in his mind. I'm just being straight up. I may sound judgmental, and you're right. I am being judgmental because it's like, what are you going to choose? One more loop of root chakra, nameless sex? Or are you going to choose root chakra, the sacrament of your beloved, to infuse you with light code downloads so that you can get into the ascension trend? What do you want? As many bimbos as you can handle? Or do you want to go out of that into 5D New Earth? And I don't think that those two are not connected, those types of choices. They're highly connected. And do I sound like a prude? Not at all, because I'm highly sexual. But to me, sex is a sacrament. Sex is you don't think I've gone my little one-night stands when I was 18, 19, 20 years? Of course I did. And after, like, I don't know, the 6th, 7th lover, I was like, this is like shit. Like, I know sex is great, but not with these people. And so when I did connect with my high-level soulmate, it was a confirmation. Yes, this is what it's supposed to be like. This is what it is. When I went with my twin, holy God, oh, hello. You know what I'm saying? Not even sex, just being in a twin's arms, in their arms. So when you say I don't believe in twin, well, maybe you don't have a twin in this incarnation. That's okay. Do what you need to do in this incarnation. But to not believe in twin because you went around and have sex, hey, do what you need to do in this incarnation. But to not believe in twin because you went around and have sex with all kinds of people, maybe that's what you need to do until you get sick of it. Because even eating, I love chocolate, but after a point, I will get sick and vomit. I can't eat that much chocolate at some point. And what happens is that it deadens the palate. It deadens your ability to taste what is real and what is not. Does that make sense? So it's a journey you may have to go through. So I will have this uploaded on YouTube today. Okay, so it's all good. So if you want to finish, you can. Any other questions or comments? Jennifer, if you're here, or anyone, can you hear me well, or is it breaking up? Can you hear me? I just want to, if somebody could type in, I can hear you, or whatever, that would be great. Can you hear me well? All right, let me ask, solid and clear the whole time. Okay, perfect. I can hear, perfect. I can hear you. Thank you so much. Okay. It's okay, but gets stuck at times. I can hear you, but it cuts out every now and then, but I'll catch up. All right, the next question. This is weird. I don't know why it's cutting out like that. That's annoying. Let me see what else I have for you guys. So what I'm getting here is death, 9 of Swords. Death is transformation again. 9 of Swords is anxiety into the 3 of Pentacles. Why is the 3 of Pentacles here? What's going on? Why is the Three of Pentacles here? The Four of Wands, mastery into the Four of Wands. So what you're going to have to go through, or what many of you have gone through or going through now, is the transformation of death, which is very unpleasant. Okay, it's not comfortable. It gives you anxiety. You can't sleep. You're haunted. But it is bringing you to mastery of certain aspects of yourself into the Four of Wands, union. Four of Wands, 11-11, you're on the right track. And it's interesting because what you're going to realize is that it starts out with death, transformation, which is 13. 1 plus 3 is 4, which is taking on karma, right? And finally, the end card is Four of Wands, 4, the completion of that cycle that you might find very uncomfortable, but it's for your highest good. 4, which is a volunteer, what I call a volunteer number, and it's great. So honestly, what you're going through is a rite of passage. Many of us have had to go through. The reason why twin rays are different than twin flames is because they don't have to go through any of this shit. None of it. They've already done all these cycles in previous incarnations. They were planting the seeds to enjoy the fruit of their labors in the next life. And you have to, some of you, unfortunately, will have twins where that will be your only choice. You're planting seeds from the next incarnation. That's just how it's going to be. All right? So I'm going to let you go since it keeps cutting out. It's unpleasant. But thank you again for being here. If you want an Akashic reading, you've got to go on my website, tonybarca.com. You can go on my Linktree profile. That's where my website is. And probably the reason why it keeps breaking up is they gave me 2 restrictions that which they do sometimes. I don't know why, but they do it. But it's good now. But thank you. Oh, it's good now. Okay. But let me just say that if you can have confidence in your twin, if you have, oh, that's beautiful. If you have confidence in your twin, right? And if you know that this is your twin, then you should not worry. You should have the confidence to move forward. Thank you, my love. You should have the confidence to move forward. And what does that mean? Do your mission. If you have to explore things in this incarnation while you're in separation with your twin, try to understand why you need to you need to experience this. If you need to like literally physically explore, like I studied it. I didn't have to explore it physically because I didn't want to. Just I could have explored bisexuality in this incarnation. I didn't want to. Why? Not because I'm afraid of it, but because I knew, believe me, I knew. I mean, we're all bisexual in some level or another, some more than others, okay? Because we've been men and women. Hello. So it's not a big deal to be attracted to the same gender sometimes. It's actually it's actually healthy. It's normal. But for somebody like me, for example, where I'm like, yeah, I'm like I had a conversation with my son about that on a walk, on a hike. I know it's a weird, but I wanted him to know because I told him, look, I can't be your mother anymore. I need to mentor you. So with that said, I said, do you want to do X, Y, and Z? He goes, no. I go, well, then you're not really ready to do that actually. You're just having a human experience. You're realizing because you've had many incarnations as a woman that of course you're attracted to men. But that doesn't mean you have to do it in this incarnation. And this is what some young people need to understand is that it's normal to have that, but you have to ask yourself, is this for me in this incarnation? I remember I was sleeping over with my girlfriend. We had the same eyes, same eye shaped. Hers were turquoise. She was blonde. I was dark. And I remember she was crawling over me to get to the closet. I'll never forget that. I think I was 17. And she leaned in to kiss me. And I said to her, I want the first time to be with a man. And she said, I understand. We never spoke of it again. Were we attracted to each other? Yes, we're soulmates. Of course we were. Did I want to do that? No, for some reason there was something saying no. And that doesn't mean that if your answer is yes, that it's wrong. Maybe in this incarnation you do need to explore it. But some of these questions of polyamory, bisexuality, all of that, you need to explore it and really get really hard. Not what's pulsing between your legs, but what's pulsing between your chest, your heart chakra. To go, is this for me in this incarnation, or am I looping into something else? Similarly, you might find, like I did, a man who was absolutely fabulous in all ways, I thought, until I went back into past lives going, holy shit, I better stop this cycle. It's a cycle. It's a karmic cycle that will keep me looped. I can't do this in this incarnation. So thank God I didn't have sex with him. And that was the end of that. It took a year for me to get over it. You know, there was pain involved, but it was the best thing I could have ever done. Okay? So desire is there to attract you to a question. Desire starts with, I think I want this. Okay? Is this good for me in this incarnation? I don't know. Then you need to ask some questions of yourself. You need to journal. You need to explore. Is this really what I want? And it could be that maybe it's not just any same gender. Maybe you find a gender who is your twin. And this has happened where a twin has been heterosexual their entire life. And here comes the twin in same gender. There's no question this is going to be explored physically. There's no question. You see? So you have to ask yourself the right questions, and people don't. Because society, social media, the 1% is controlling and marketing a lot of shit to get us into play. Have you heard of people doing gender surgeries? There are a lot of people who are very happy with it, very, very, and there are a lot of people regretting it going, I wish I'd never done that. I wish I'd never done, because first of all, shame on the psychologists for not helping them ask the right questions, and not shame on them because they were young and they didn't know how to ask the questions. So they were expecting adults with PhDs to know how to fucking help them maneuver through these dark, shadowy places. And those people are regretting those choices. Just like some people are regretting being drunk, high, and having same-gender sex, or even just losing their virginity, or just having sex with multiple people in, say, 1 year. I had a person who I knew, her goal was to have sex with a man every day for the whole year. This was in the 70s. I'm not sure if that worked out well for her. Psychologically, emotionally speaking. You see, you got to ask yourself the right questions. Like, what's pushing you to do shit? Is it self-discovery? Will the self-discovery be enough if you read some articles about it, read stories, look at videos, look at people's journeys through those journeys? When I listened and followed Brittany and Connor on YouTube, you can look them up. Beautiful couple, don't get me wrong. They're still good friends. They have a child together. And I saw a lot of joy, but then I saw the collapse. And I was like, okay, well, I'm having enough trouble, me and my twin, in staying together. Like, definitely I'm not adding a third person in that fucking shit show. Like, not even for a week. So let me just go ahead and work out what we need to work out with his issues and my issues in terms of loyalty, monogamy. And yeah, my twin was... to be honest, he was very much more leaning towards polyamory because, but it wasn't really because that was how he was wired. It was because that's how men were wired. So rather than cheating, which all the men around him did, he wanted to be honest about it. And we explored that together. And I said, I can't do, that's not how I'm wired. And he understood. I'm not wired like that. I can't do that for you. I'm sorry. I don't share my toys with anybody, come to think of it. And you're my beautiful, you're my best toy. I'm definitely not sharing you. So, and, but let me put it this way to you, but let me tell you about jealousy, which is very interesting about twins. Had he gone back to one of his high-level soulmates, you wouldn't have heard a peep from me. I would have been very happy for him. So it was never about jealousy. It was about, as long as you're with the right woman, like as long as I know that you are with a woman that loves you as much as I love you, I'm good. But if I know you're with a bimbo, oh yeah, we're not doing that. Because that would destroy my beloved. So it's interesting how jealousy plays. Because in all honesty, had he gone with, there are two women I'm thinking of, and I told him that, and he knows that. He knows that even to this day. I would have been happy for him. I would have known, you're in good hands. You're in good hands. I'm moving on with my life. I will find myself a high-level soulmate. But that's not what happened. I was the one that was supposed to be there. And we were able to graduate, okay, from flame to ray. And that was an incredible moment. And it had to do with him realizing that love of that level is not wrapped in sex. Sex is the nectar. Sex is that cherry on the cake, but it is not the cake. It is not the whole nourishment of this kind of love. Sex is the nectar that comes from that connection. That connection does not come from sex. And once he understood that, we had just graduated. And he did. And that was beautiful to see. Wow, that's beautiful. May we have multiple lives in this and really not our life. Yes, you can have concurrent incarnations. Yes, you can. Thank you for the knowledge. I hope it brings me wisdom. Very hetero, but love men as partners per se. I totally get it, man. I've talked to, I have a friend I call him my second son, who's gay. And, he was born gay, but you'll find that 75% of men are very much, have homoerotic fantasies and are very much in that realm. And many of these men are alpha male, what you call alpha male, like Cary Grant, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger. I'm trying to come up with guys that would be alpha male to you guys. I'm trying to come up with names. If you guys come up with names, and they explore that part of them. And it's interesting how we recognize it in women and we don't bat an eye, not really, but with men, we kind of do bat an eye. And it's no different in women. There's a lot of women that have had, bisexual experiences, with a girl. We've all heard the stories of in college I used to kiss my girlfriends and we used to make out and blah, blah, blah. And, so it's not unusual, but I think for some of us who are on a different path, we have to ask ourselves why and how, and is this good? I know for a fact that I was a gay male in many incarnations. I know for a fact I was a gay female. I have an incredible love of Sapphic poetry. It resonated with me, but for whatever reason in this incarnation, it was a no. It's not because I've even written erotic poetry on that subject, and actually a particular short story actually that won an award called "Moments in Time from Paris to India." It was about two women who met in Paris at the Louvre Museum, my favorite place in the world, and who became lovers and had a past life recall in India. You can't make this shit up, So it's not like I don't understand it. I understand it, but I also know that. In this incarnation, I needed to be with men. And that was it. And that's just my thing. And on a side note, I can't say it here because they will rip, it's X-rated what I'm about to say. But let me just say that the lingam is my favorite thing to play with. And so clearly, I'm not going to be a fan of the yoni. I'm a fan of my yoni, but not somebody else's yoni. How's that? That will say it how I'm supposed to say it without being shut down. So there's that too. All right. So any other questions? Any other questions, my friend? And thank you for your support. I wish I could say your name, but I'm going to say 13. 13 is Scorpio energy, by the way. And I want to thank you for all your gifts. And any other questions or comments? Any questions or comments? Thank you, Alchemist Moon. Thank you for all the love. So I'm going to call it a day. I will upload this. I love your candid lives. Thank you. You're welcome. I can't, though I am a devout, just so